So this is my exam, and A is explain the process of pre-production. The first part is project proposal, and it's a summary used to promote or sell a project. It's the what of the pre-production phase. For ours, we are going to do an associative collision montage, and we will be comparing Aspen, Colorado, and Cincinnati, Ohio. The project of the piece is to show the contrast between nature and city. The next part is the premise, and it's a concise statement that sums up the story or the subject matter. It's the why of the pre-production phase. Next is the synopsis. It's a short paragraph that describes the basic storyline, like the theme. And the theme in ours is to show how mountain living and city life is different. We will be going back and forth between both places. Next is the treatment. Treatment is a detailed summary of the plot, characters, and scene. And it's also how you plan to shoot the shots. For ours, we are going to be using Lauren's and Dan's camera, and we're shooting all around Cincinnati because Dan already shot in Aspen. And we will be doing various shots of overall and medium close-ups. Script is a complete production guide on paper specifying what will be seen or heard. Script breakdown is a breakdown script to include listing equipment and personal needs for each scene. Production schedules is a schedule so everyone knows where they need to be during production, at what time of day, and what they need to bring. Budget is how much money you need to spend. Storyboards, a graphic visualization of important shots in your piece. B, what are the most important steps in the process and define them? I think project proposal is very important because you need to know what you're doing in order to produce it. Treatment is also very important because it shows what you want to do and how you want to do it and what you need to do it with. I think that's important because you need to know what you're going to be filming with or recording with for your piece to come out good. Budget's also very important because you need to know how much money you have to spend. If you over budget, you may not be able to finish your project, and if you under budget, you could have used more equipment or more talent to make your piece better. I think storyboard's really important too because it visualizes what you want to do. C, why is pre-production needed? I think it's needed to plan, so you know your premise, synopsis, and treatment, and you just don't go into the production phase without knowing what you're even wanting to film or record. It's needed to figure out a budget. Like I said before, you don't want to be over or under. You want to be right on budget. It's needed to make a schedule. With a schedule, it helps so everybody knows when they have to be, where they need to be, and what they need to bring there. And it's needed because it makes everything run smoothly for production and post-production, which goes into D. How does pre-production relate to other stages of production? A great pre-production makes the other two stages run smoothly. I saw this in my audio project. Me and my partners had a really great pre-production phase, so it made the rest of our project run really smoothly. For our pre-production, we made a schedule that set out when we wanted to record, when we wanted to edit, and we wanted to finish up the project. This helped because most of us were able to stick to it. Another part was we made a sound map at the beginning. This sound map helped during production because we just went straight down the sound map of what we needed to record. Because of this, it made recording only take an hour because we knew what sounds we wanted to do. And then that sound map helped in post-production because we also figured out where we wanted the sounds to go by putting them in the beginning, middle, end of piece. E, explain the process of post-production and define the steps. In the beginning of post-production, you digitize the footage, which means you take the footage from the camera or recorder and you put it on your computer. You then edit the footage using GarageBand or Reaper. And then color correction, if there was bad lighting in a scene, you can correct it during the post-production phase. If audio was off, you can do some fine-tuning with the audio sweetening. And then you can figure out your transitional elements, how you want to transition from one scene to the next in post-production. If you want to add music, you could figure out your musical composition during this part. And then visual effects, if you want to add titles or credits, you can add it during post-production. And then whatever you want your final product to be, CD, DVD, streaming on YouTube or SoundCloud, you export it to that. F. Explain the two types of analytical montage and give examples. Analytical is you analyze an event for its thematic and structural elements and select the essential elements and synthesize them into an intensified screen event. There are two types of analytical montage. The first one is sequential analytical, and the second one is sequential analytical. Sequential analytics, or the second one's sectional analytical. The first one, sequential analytical, is condensing an event into its key development elements and presenting them in their original cause and effect sequence. It's natural progression, but like in a faster pace. ESPN does that a lot. One example I have is in Up. They show marriage to death in 3 minutes. They show marriage, and then midlife, and then they show death at the very end. But it sped it up into 3 minutes. The next one is sectional analytical, and it temporarily stops the progression of an event and examines an isolated moment from several viewpoints. One example I think of this is in a Full House episode, Joey's substitute teaching. When he's up at the board talking, he looks out into the group and he notices how bored all the students look. In that moment, it's paused and it shows how the students are looking back up at him and they look bored. So it shows his view of how he's looking at them and how they're looking and how they see it. So it's different viewpoints back to back. G. Explain the two types of associative montage and give examples. The associative montage puts together two seemingly associated events to create a third principal idea or concept. There are two types of idea-associated montage. The first one is comparison montage, and the second one is collision montage. The first one, comparison montage, compares similar themes from dissimilar events. The example you gave in class is one I'm going to use, which was a homeless man who is hungry. You compared it to dogs hungry attacking garbage cans. It's two completely different scenes showing one theme of hunger. The second one is collision montage, and it's when you clash two different events to express or reinforce a basic idea or feeling. It's combining different images to generate a new idea. We are using this for our video montage project. We're doing collision montage. But an example of this would be God, Father, in the baptism scene. It goes back and forth between two completely different things, which is baptism of a baby to preparing for a murder.
Oremus omnipotens ambitene Deus, Pater Domini nostri Iesu Christi respice dignatus super hanc fambulum tuum Michael, qui venturis est judicari vivus.
This keeps going back and forth between the murder scene and the baptism. And that's an example of that, and that is my